Picture this. You are sitting outside a cafe on Las Ramblas, Barcelona, sun out, sangria in front of you. You are exactly where you planned to be for months. And then from nowhere, a stream of cold water hits you directly in the face. You look up. A line of locals is marching past, water pistols raised, aimed specifically at you, at your table, at every tourist on the street. Someone is chanting. You catch two words in English. Tourists, go home. You are not being robbed. You are not in danger. But you are sitting in a city that has decided openly, publicly, with thousands of people in the streets, that it does not want you there anymore. And the question nobody is asking is, are they wrong? Here is the number that explains everything: 26 million. That is how many tourists visited Barcelona last year. 26 million people in a city of 1.6 million residents. Do that math for a second. For every single person who actually lives in Barcelona, 16 tourists showed up. 16. And while those tourists were filling the restaurants and the hotels and the Instagram grids, the people who live there were watching something happen to their city that felt slow at first and then suddenly very fast. Rents went up 68% in 10 years. The corner shop that the neighborhood used for 30 years became a souvenir store. The apartment building where 3 local families lived became an Airbnb block. The neighborhood bar, the one with the old men who played cards on Tuesday afternoons, closed. Something with a neon sign and an English menu opened in its place. Barcelona did not become a tourist destination, it became a tourism product, and the people packaged inside that product, the actual residents, finally ran out of patience. The protests that made international headlines happened on a Saturday afternoon. Thousands of people, coordinated, organized by over 100 local neighborhood groups under one banner, the Neighborhood Assembly for Tourism Degrowth. They had banners. They had smoke bombs, pink ones, set off in front of hotels and hostels. They had stickers that said "Citizen Self-Defense" in Catalan and "Tourists Go Home" in English with a drawing of a water pistol. And they had the water pistols themselves. They walked through Las Ramblas, the most famous street in the city, and they soaked every tourist in sight. One woman, hair completely drenched, scurried away from the barrage. A pair of boys with ice cream ran. Diners at outdoor restaurants abandoned their meals. One protester stopped in front of a large hostel. They emptied their water gun at the workers in the doorway, set off a firecracker, released pink smoke. A worker spat at them as he slammed the door shut. And in the middle of all of this, an American tourist named Wanda, who got hit twice, looked at the person who sprayed her and said, "That's lovely, thank you, sweetheart." Because it was 30 degrees and she was a tourist, and she did not understand that the city she was visiting was not putting on a show for her. It was asking her to leave. The chant that day was, "Your holidays, my misery." 3 words. That is the entire argument. Here is what I want you to understand, because this story is not as simple as angry locals bad. The mayor of Barcelona has already announced that by 2028, every single short-term tourist rental license in the city, over 10,000 apartments, will be cancelled. Done, finished. Those apartments go back to locals. That is not a small decision. That is a city government choosing its own residents over one of the most profitable tourism industries in Europe. And still the protesters say it is not enough, because the mayor is replacing apartments with hotels. Same buildings, same problem, just with a reception desk. What Barcelona is going through is not a tantrum. It is a city trying to answer a question that every single popular destination on earth is going to have to answer eventually. At what point does tourism stop being an industry and start being a disease? 26 million visitors a year, 68% rent increase, neighborhoods hollowed out, people who were born here, who buried their parents here, who raised their children here, leaving, not because they want to, because they cannot afford to stay. That is what your holiday costs. Not in euros, in people. So should you go to Barcelona? I am not going to tell you not to go. That is not what this channel does, but I am going to tell you this. The Barcelona that exists between the protests, the old Gothic quarter before 10 in the morning, the neighborhood of Gracia on a weeknight, the market that the locals actually use, that version of the city is still there. It is smaller every year, but it is still there. If you go and you eat at the place with no English on the menu, if you stay somewhere that was not converted from a local family's apartment, if you spend your money in the actual city rather than the tourism machine built around it, you are not the problem. The problem is scale. 16 tourists per resident. That is not travel. That is an occupation. Go if you go, but go knowing what you are walking into. And maybe, just maybe, put your phone down for 5 minutes and look at the city that is disappearing around you. It will not be there forever. I'm TK. This is the hidden route. Subscribe, because the next city is already reaching its limit.